you do have a cell phone, to turn it to the silent mode. Okay, or turn it off if you would. And now I'll ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We've got a number of important items ahead of us this evening, primarily continuing our review of the town budget. Our other items relate to our next meetings. The next town meeting will occur on June 20th, if that's necessary. It would be necessitated by further discussion of the town budget. Should there be a need, then it will be when our next meeting occurs. Following that, our next town meeting will be July 5th at 7:30 p.m. Are there any other meeting announcements? No? Mr. Sweeney, nothing for Community Heritage Day, folks?
I haven't heard yet. I think we have a meeting this week, but it's not here.
Okay. Very good. Okay, thank you. All right. Are there any questions related to the town minutes related to the May 2nd and the May 16th meeting? Do you have any concerns related to those items? No? Okay, all right. Is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Very good. Is there a second for the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion's been made by Commissioner Blanchard. It's been seconded by Commissioner Sweeney. Is there any further discussion of these items?
No.
No.
Okay, hearing none. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries 5-0 with the full board present. Okay, now, I want to sort of rotate over to an announcement related to a closed session, all right? And I'm seeking someone on the board to consider this as for a motion to be made. Okay, at the close of this meeting, there may be a closed executive session as permitted by the General Provisions Article Section 3-305, subsection B. Closed meetings, item 1, potential personnel matter. Okay, I have the statement for the motion, if someone would like to make the motion related to a closed session for tonight. Thank you, sir.
I'd like to make the motion that at the close of this meeting, there will be a closed executive session as permitted by the General Provisions Article Section 3-305B, closed meeting items 1, potential personnel matter. Oh, I need to read the whole thing, sorry. My fault. I make a motion to close the June 6th town meeting at its conclusion for a closed executive session for the discussion of a potential personnel matter as permitted by the General Provisions Article Sections 3-305B, Item 1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom the public body has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals.
Great, thank you, sir. Is there a second for the motion as presented?
I'll second.
Very good. The motion's been made by Commissioner Blanchard. It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellor. Is there any further discussion related to this motion? Okay, so all in favor of the closed session this evening, based on the motion presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 5-0. Therefore, we will have a closed session this evening. Okay, thank you, folks. All right, moving forward, we go to the police report. Deputy, good evening. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. This is the town report for May of 2016. On the traffic area, we had 64 stops with a total of 80 violations, 26 selective enforcements. One thing that's not on here, but it's on the comment section on the back, is more complaints of the Brookfield Drive at the Irishtown, the one-way do not enter area there. I sat, I don't know, roughly, I guess, 2.5 hours over the month, mostly between hours of like 4 and 7, and only got about 5 or 6 people. All of them were from that development, so it wasn't like anybody cutting through. So they kind of come up and make a left down Timberville Run, and I'd stop them and, sorry, won't do it again kind of thing. So I'll continue to monitor that, myself and Deputy Rohr, so for the time being. Under the calls for service, 2 burglaries, 2 thefts. The arrests and violations, we had a traffic arrest, we had 2 criminal arrests in May. And on the background of the special assignments, just various things of like, placing flyers around town for the Rocket Club, the Jim Moxley Memorial Rocket Club. Had to do we did the funeral detail for the FCPD officer, Frederick there. Had some out of county court. On the 22nd, we had our first Rocket Club, which went pretty well, I believe. Was obviously the 23rd through the 28th, we had the carnival. Both of us attended. We were present for the carnival every night, so we were there. Had the traffic detail at the Doughboy rededication ceremony, and had a traffic detail for a church procession on the 29th. Under the comments section, the theft of the Emmitsburg sign out there at 140 and Harney Road. There is no suspects in that. I don't know who's going to take a big sign like that, but
They cut it?
but yeah, I was under the impression somebody, I guess, maybe hacked it off with a chainsaw on each side. And,
It's a pretty clean cut, isn't it?
yeah,
Looks
yeah.
like a Sawzall, that's my guess.
Yeah, or something.
you know.
Yeah, so
That's a state highway thing for a second when I first saw it.
yeah, I don't know. As far as that, there's no suspects still. I mean, if anybody has any information, that can obviously contact myself or Deputy Rohr or anybody here from the town. It can be done anonymously as well. So, a couple of criminal charges. The criminal arrests from the month were the one for a domestic assault and one for a theft. And there's also charges pending on a destruction of property too from the last month. We had a utility pole fell on an unoccupied vehicle on DePaul Street. I guess the pole just rotted out and fell. Just happened.
I was going to ask you
Yeah.
because I could see all that from my house.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that car actually hit it or it.
No,
was
it just
unfortunate to
rotted
be
out
right
and just
there at
happened to
the pole.
fall that day
Okay.
for some reason. So I don't think it was windy or anything. It just fell.
Okay.
Obviously, good thing there wasn't anybody right there, but it did come to rest on top of that car. There's minimal damage to the car. So. Speaking of the carnival, there was no incidents there at all. We didn't really have any issues at all. The only thing we did have is someone came up and said they had a missing 2-year-old, and within like 40 seconds of reporting it, they found the kid. So,
That's great.
which was good. And back to the Jim Moxley Memorial Rocket Club. I think that was a big success. Travis and I are pretty pleased with the turnout for the first one. We had about 10 kids. It was a little rainy, a little misty, but overall, built the rockets and shot them up. In that 3-hour window, and the parents raved about it that were there. Got nothing but positive feedback from it. So plan on doing another one. It's going to be on June 26th. That's a Sunday after the Heritage Days. We're going to have that one at the Memorial Park at that pavilion because the other one was booked up. But we may have to bring them across over to Community Park if no one's around and shoot them up. So. A little more room,
Sure.
more room for air, wind, so you won't shoot them into the trees and all that kind of stuff. So.
If the 26th, if you need that, the Lions Club the park's just getting cleaned up that day.
Okay,
Everything will be out in the morning. By lunchtime, it should be empty.
all right, that'll be perfect because we're gonna between 2 and that's not on here, but it's between 2 and 5 again.
We'll be going by then.
Okay,
'Cause we
and
have to
then
get up early in the morning, so none of us want to be there in the afternoon.
okay,
Thursday and Friday's hard
Yeah.
enough for me.
but we'll do the same thing. I'm guessing just kind of build some more of the rockets. Hopefully we'll have some more kids and ones that weren't there for the first one, and if the kids want to bring the ones that they built from the previous, that's fine, and we'll just shoot them up. It's always fun to watch rockets go up, right? But yeah, they can. If people just want to let us know if they plan on coming, that way we can have a rough count, or or an accurate one would be nice. But they can contact myself or Deputy Rohr on the website. It'll be posted on there, and just let us know.
You guys are going to do that throughout the summer, correct?
Yes.
That might be something you'd want to advertise at the swimming pool,
Okay.
maybe with a flyer, if that's okay. You could
Sure.
probably get some interest from there.
Sounds good.
And I'll say
We'll try
this,
anything we can.
10, that's a great number, of participants. Given the fact that you're competing with a lot of things, 10's a great number to start with. And if those kids all bring a friend back,
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah,
phenomenal.
we were pleased, and we had a good time. And it's like being a kid again.
The school will
That's
be
fine.
out. Most of the ball games will be done unless they're in all-stars and stuff like that. So you get
Yeah, and maybe during the summer when school's out, maybe even during the week might be easier for some parents too, so they don't take up a weekend or they want to travel or something. We look into that as well. So we're open to suggestions and everything too on the website. Not only are you coming or not, but anything constructive criticism, whatever. I mean, we'll take it. So, is there any questions for me? I mean, that concludes what I have here on
Yeah,
the.
I have a question.
Yes.
There was a guy going around Silo Hill with light bulbs a few weeks ago, over a period, I think, of 2 weeks. And he was saying that he was a rep from Potomac Edison, and he was going into people's homes and changing their light bulbs out and replacing them with energy-efficient light bulbs.
Okay.
And there was quite a stir on Facebook about this guy. Some of the residents were alarmed that they didn't feel like he was legit and that he was casing their homes. And did you receive any calls about this light bulb person?
When I was on, no, I didn't receive
Okay.
any. And I don't know. I mean, if somebody is doing something like that, are they required to check in, like at the town, at least let somebody know they're going to be out and about?
Yeah, I contacted Ms. Willits about it, and
Okay.
they are. But apparently, the one resident contacted Potomac Edison, and Potomac Edison said, "We're not doing a program like that. You should call the police." But he came to our house, and he had a badge, and he was very knowledgeable. I mean, he answered every single question that I asked him. Like, to me, I felt like he was legit.
Yeah, yeah.
But I still don't know. It's a
Yeah,
mystery.
I mean, obviously, if there's any kind of doubt or anything, I mean,
Yeah.
call us. We can come out and identify the guy and the gentleman or the lady, whoever it may be.
You could order some
make
light
it-
bulbs, see what make them deliver.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
So, yeah, just call us for anything suspicious like that. We'll come
Okay.
out and
Take them away, leave the light bulbs.
yeah.
Anything else for the deputy? No. Deputy, I want to follow up just a couple quick things. Obviously,
Yes.
Heritage Day, Community Heritage Day is coming up on the 25th.
Yes.
I know folks are going to be setting up in the park Thursday and Friday and Saturday, so just be mindful if
Okay.
you would share that.
All right.
The other thing is I hope to, coordinate with you and perhaps Ms. Willits related to getting the flyers to the local public schools about the bike safety rodeo.
Okay.
We were able to do it last year. I'm able to get them together, like to do the copying, but the distribution has to be, I believe, approved on your end before the schools will allow that to happen. I think that's the process.
Okay.
So I know our window is closing rapidly, so
Yes.
I'll follow up with you hopefully tomorrow afternoon if I can. If
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
I'll be on tomorrow.
Great, okay.
Do you already have them printed?
I don't have it. What I need to do is I need to get the draft from last year. I was waiting for Bike Maryland to send me something, and I'm just going to take what we had from last year and change the dates, send it to them, and see if they'll approve it. But I sent them something 2 weeks ago, and I haven't heard back from them. They've confirmed they're going to be here, but it's been a little bit slow on the draw regarding the actual documentation. So that's where we are.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else for the deputy? No. Okay. Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you very
evening.
much, sir.
Ben,
Be
if
safe.
you need any assistance with the Rocket Club, let us know. We can probably help.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll turn to the commissioner's comments. Commissioner Ritz?
I regret that I was not available or around for the rededication of the Doughboy. I had every intention of being there. Unfortunately, I got back from Arizona on a work trip, took the red eye back, got some sleep, and decided to mow my yard. And then I realized when I was finished mowing that the ceremony would have already been over. To make matters a little better, on my way out to Arizona, the plane I was on was about 1/3 of veterans from World Wars II through Vietnam. A volunteer group. They go around, take them different places. It's strictly a volunteer club. I can't remember the name of the organization, but I had the pleasure of sitting next to a gentleman in his early 90s, I would assume, who served in World War II and Korea. From the Navy, and he told me all about his experience in the war and his life story. I found it fascinating, and it made the 4.5-hour flight a lot more fast. So I appreciated that. So I do apologize for my absence. I had every intention of being there. Thank you.
Sure, okay. Commissioner Miller?
The flowers in the median on Silo Hill Parkway have been taken care of, so thank you to whoever did that. Is it still the Scouts group, or it didn't look like Scouts to me? Okay,
We use a contractor.
okay, and
The
then,
scouts have done it, some.
right, right, well, it looks very nice. And we visited the trail, my husband and I visited the trail twice in the last 2 weeks, and
Good.
the rain has really made things grow.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sweeney?
Yes, I was at the Doughboy dedication, and the town and the mayor and staff and Glenn did a wonderful job putting it all together. It was a real nice presentation, and my wife enjoyed it, and so did I. And the 99-year-old man that was there was very interesting, his story. So he was there when it was put there. And also, Heritage Day will be on the 25th, and everybody come out to it. So we're having the parade will be going by the Doughboy, so it will be the old route from Annandale Road and Mountain View Road down to South Seaton and into the park.
You might wanna mention the time that the parade starts.
It starts at 6, but the lineup for the parade, if you'd like to be in, it'll be 5:30, and we will have some veterans in the parade. And that's all I have.
Sure, okay. Commissioner Ritz?
Question regarding that, because there was a little bit of confusion last year. Are we, the commissioners, are to ride in our own vehicles again this year?
No, unless you want to, but I'll try to have a vehicle for you, or the wagon, or something to ride in, but
And I also promised to have candy this year.
it was my fault for asking you, but is everybody going, I have to ask anyway, is everybody gonna be here for the program?
Yeah, it should be. Yep.
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
are you gonna be here? And the program, and then also the parade?
Yes.
Yep. Depending on it.
Okay. That way I know that to tell them that everybody's gonna be there and I'm gonna get a spot for everybody. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you, sir. Commissioner Blanchard?
Thanks, Mr. President. Just a couple things. First off, I can't let the date escape. You know, it is June 6th, which is the 72nd anniversary of D-Day. So speaking of veterans, obviously honor all veterans that are out there today on anniversary of D-Day. The newspaper did a great article on the Doughboy statue. If no one's seen it yet, pass that on down the row here. Good article on the rededication. Do appreciate everyone coming out for that. It was a good day. Mr. Zacharias, the individual who was there at the original dedication, made the whole day pretty cool, I thought, is hearing his story about it and pulling the curtain back and everything else and hearing the noise. Great day there as far as I'm concerned. For that activity, I like to thank the American Legion, VFW, Vigilant Host Company, and the Ladies Auxiliary who made the whole day really worthwhile. A couple other events that are coming up soon. It's tomorrow night, okay, it's Flag. Tomorrow's Flag Day. 7 o'clock in front of this building will be the Emmitsburg's sort of biannual turn, basically, to handle that. If you know individuals who have a flag that needs to be disposed of on Flag Day, please contact a member of the American Legion. They do have a flag exchange program, and that's usually done on Flag Day when a flag is sort of worn, torn, and needs to be replaced. It can be taken care of on this day. Any details that Mr. Mayor you want to give on?
It's on the 14th.
Oh, the 14th. I thought it was tomorrow. I'm sorry, wrong day. Next Tuesday.
And they want to have it back at Memorial Park.
Yeah, it is next Tuesday. Sorry, I don't know why I thought tomorrow. Next Tuesday.
Get there early, get a good seat.
Yep. Sorry about that. So you got to hold another week too much to take care of your flag. Last one actually is this week. And that's Saturday, June 11th. And that's in Thurmont at the Memorial Park. And that's the dedication of the footbridge for the individual, the young Marine who was killed last year along 15. And that occurs at 11 o'clock on the 11th down at the Memorial Park. And if I understand correctly, both the VFW, American Legion, and others will be involved in that. So I encourage you to participate in that activity. And I think that's it. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Blanchard, to clarify, the bridge dedication is going to take place not at the bridge, but actually in Thurmont.
Yeah, at
Is that
Memorial
right?
Park, yeah,
Okay,
downtown
great.
Thurmont, yep.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that.
If anyone's noticed going down 15, they've already sort of put the structural work there
Right.
below the sign so they can put the new sign up right below the footbridge. So
That's great. Okay. Sure. For the just sort of following up on some comments, the Doughboy rededication was a pretty moving event, and I really want to hand it to you, Mr. Blanchard. I think the way you handled the ceremony was wonderful. I got a lot of compliments about that from folks later in the day, which was nice. I think it went very smoothly. Mr. Mayor, your quotes from Rudyard Kipling definitely well chosen. Definitely conversation worthy and appropriate when you talk about the dedication of young people from small towns and the commitment they make and far afield. Very poignant. To hear Mr. Zacharias speak was profound. He was there for the first dedication, and he was very vivid in his recollections, and he tied it into how more or less it led to his marriage to his wife of many decades, which again was impressive. I was there with my wife. She looked at me. So I have a high standard to hold there. Moving forward, with Community Heritage Day coming up, there's going to be a trail work day on the 18th, which is Saturday in a week. It's going to go from 9 in the morning to 1 p.m. It's advertised here at the town office and on Channel 99 and on the website. Thank you. My hope is anybody who chooses to come, there will be food beforehand and coffee and bagels and fruit and water and all that. We'll have tools on hand. I always say dress for the weather and dress for the work, and the reason I say that is you can see from the calamine lotion is there's lots of poison sumac, ivy, and oak up there, all of which is visited on my arms this past week. It will be really helpful, especially with the growth, as Commissioner Mellor commented, to help us keep the trails wide and useful and the sight lines open for hikers and for walkers and for dog walkers and for cyclists and so on. The idea being that the better the sight line, the better the trail experience. So all volunteers are welcome and it would be appreciated. Afterwards, we intend to have a barbecue here in town. Again, it's for the volunteers and their families who choose to join us, so please feel free for that. On Community Heritage Day, in the event we don't have a meeting before then, I'll just announce that there will be mountain bike rides in the morning. There will be a kids ride on the family trail up on the mountain. In Community Park, there are all sorts of kids' activities, one of which includes the Bike Safety Rodeo. There'll be free giveaways there. Bikes will be provided for as many kids as we can provide, as will helmets be available. So it's the sort of thing where you don't have to have a bike, nor do you have to have a helmet in order to participate. Afterwards, we're going to have 3 rides. We're going to have the Tour de Parc for the little guys. It's less than 1 mile of riding in the park. We'll have the Tour de Pasture, a 5-mile ride in the community where we go out Scott Road and we go by Annandale Road. And we have a 25-mile supported ride, a road ride, led by some local road cyclists for those who feel like something a little bit more rigorous. So we do have some choices there built into the day. Beyond that, again, my hat's off to everybody, all the community organizations who got the Doughboy rededication together. And I think the mayor hit it on the head when he said, though it took a sort of a rough road to get there, we got there. And that's a good bottom line. So that's where I'll end my comments. Mr. Mayor, yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much. This Saturday, while commissioners, other commissioners will be down at the in Memorial Park in Thurmont. I'll be welcoming the crowds. Crowds will be coming to the Fallen Firefighters Memorial this Saturday. They're opening up a new segment of it that would honor those who lost their lives in fires or prior to the 1981 when they opened up the memorial. So that should be a very, as usual, very moving ceremony. Flag Day again is Tuesday, June 14th, Memorial Park. It was terrific, that the Doughboy. And I went up to one of the veterans after that and said, you know, it's really, how this thing works is something that took 2 seconds to knock down. And going back and hand wringing, it took for a year. We would have never met Mr. Zacharias. Zacharias, if it hadn't happened, we would have never had that wonderful group of people there and celebration of the Doughboy. So how these things turn out, and never be dismissive on, because it just was very special. I think that's there was a wonderful article on the Daughters of Charity and their tours. They're running the mountains to valleys, bus tours through the area up here, and it was in the Frederick News Post on Sunday. It was a very, very wonderful article that speaks to our environment and what's going on up here. It was very special to do. That's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, sir. Ms. Nail, do we have any public comments? Anybody signed up for public comment? No? Okay. Mr. Blanchard, yes, sir.
There was one thing I did forget to say, sorry.
Yes, sir, sure.
Next week on Wednesday, June 15th, that is the first of 4 Wednesdays during the summertime where the food bank will be giving away a large segment of food from the Maryland Food Bank. That includes like corn, potatoes, beans. It's very large. Last year, I think we served about 200 people every day we did it. So that's next Wednesday, the 15th, from 3 to 6. If you know anyone who needs assistance in food, please recommend them to come to the local food bank, help them out. Pretty much all we're looking for is just your name, put it down, and we'll help somebody out. So, anyways, I would
Thank you, sir.
make sure I get that out there.
Okay, we don't have anyone signed up for public comments, correct? Okay, very good. So we move to administrative business. I do have an item for consideration, just to kind of follow up on something that was brought up in an earlier meeting. Anybody else have anything for administrative business?
I have one thing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ritz.
Just, didn't receive any follow-up. Didn't know if anything came about regarding the fireworks funding, Lions Club, EBPA. What was donated in the past? Historically, I was informed that the Lions Club received around $2,000 each year to help
No,
offset the.
One.
I was told 2,000,
I've
but
been writing the checks.
okay. Well, last year they got 500. There was a little bit of confusion during the meeting as to where the money was coming from, just to ensure that the Lions would be able to
They were
have
advanced-
sufficient funds to help pay for the fireworks, which are a welcome event each year.
Okay, it's a wonderful thing. We gave I signed a check $1,500 to make up for that 500. It was missed last year. They get 1,000 every year for that, and
Okay.
we gave them $1,500 this year.
For this community. Oh, okay. Thank you. That's
So
good.
thank you for bringing it to our attention. It was a change of the guard with the accountants and everything. We got them up that one.
Okay.
But, there you go.
Okay. Anything else, Mr.
Strictly,
Ritz?
it's
Oh,
been
sorry.
1,000 for the fire.
Okay. Would that become is that like a regular part of the budget? Because we're talking about budget tonight. Does that fall under a certain category then?
Contributions,
Okay, contributions.
it's in there.
Okay. Thanks for clarification, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate that.
Anything else, Mr. Ritz?
That would be it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else with administrative business items? Mr. Sweeney, you nothing? No? Okay. Okay, I'm going to follow up on something. This relates to the recreational trail program grant that the Trail Conservancy brought to the town about a month and a half ago, and we had a discussion about this. The question came up about what sum could be accepted because the concern initially was related to the town matching funds related to a parking lot concern and signage concern. And funding wasn't available at that time. I believe the mayor was absent at that meeting. And the board consensus was that we would accept $30,000 of a $40,000 grant, and the Trail Conservancy would cover that balance with their match, and therefore there would be no out-of-pocket match required from the town. Now, the Trail Conservancy came forward, and they sent me an email, and basically they're kind of coming back with sort of a thought for consideration. The original grant that they were awarded was for $40,000. They're in a position where they can write an addendum to modify how the grant would be applied, so we could recover $10,000 additional that we were not getting when we accepted just $30 of the $40,000. Now, the additional $10,000 would be applied to what the $30,000 is already being applied to, and that would be for the professional design and construction of more trail for the town. So essentially what we'd be doing is changing it from accepting $30,000 to $40,000. And it would set aside any concern related to a parking lot or signage. That's still off the table and not for consideration based on what the board decided last time. So I'm asking the board if you guys would consider allowing the Trail Conservancy to seek that addendum with the state who manages the recreational trail program grants, and to see if they can get that additional $10,000 applied to new design and new trail construction for our town for this year.
So the grant is coming from the state and it's being matched by the Trail Conservancy.
Sort of. The grant source is from the federal government. It's
Okay.
matched by, it's managed by the state,
Okay?
and the state's the monitoring body. So they give it, basically, they do all the checking and all the
Okay,
vetting, if that
okay.
makes sense. Okay, so we have to meet their requirements and the federal requirements.
Okay.
So, does that help answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Usually consensus, or are you looking for a motion?
I guess I'd be looking for a motion if I could.
Okay.
Are you certain there's no match?
The match would be provided by the Trail Conservancy, and they have offered that. Yes, sir.
Is there a match for the town? If there is none for the town, it would be advantageous to include that as part of your motion.
Okay, all right. There is no match for the town. It's offered by the Trail Conservancy using the same model they've used in the past, where they provide the match through their organization. Mr. Hallard, does that satisfy what your
So it's
concerns
in
are?
there, so
Sure.
when you take the minutes, that the motion included that, and then I don't see any reason why you shouldn't take it.
Great, okay.
I'm not really sure how you want to reword this.
How about, I'll hand it over
Okay,
to
there you go.
Mr. Sweeney, would that be okay? I'll give this to
Yeah,
you, Mr.
exactly,
Vice
thank you.
President.
Since it's, yeah. You go
Is that
Need a
okay?
motion for the, to acceptance of the Trail Conservancy's, was it mandated or? was it-
Modified offer, how about that? Okay, sure, yes, sir. I make a motion for the town of Emmitsburg to accept, without obligation for matching funds, the Recreational Trail Program grant for 2016 in the modified amount of, how about with the addition of $10,000 to the standing $30,000 RTP grant, for a total of $40,000 made available for trail design and construction for the town of Emmitsburg by the Trail Conservancy.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just for clarification, because I know there was some discussion last time regarding parking, and potentially if parking were to be looked into, there'd be some sort of study. So does that take care of that, or
No.
Okay,
I'm
it's just strictly for trail.
trail design and
trail design.
construction.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I mean, you know,
Okay.
done nothing out of pocket from the town, so. Yeah.
And that'll be used this year?
That would be, my understanding would be used this year. They have a 2-year window to spend it. That's my understanding also. But I believe the intent is this summer through the year. Correct.
2018.
Correct.
Okay. Any more discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Motion carries.
Thank you,
5 to
folks.
0.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the sloppy motion. I hope we can refine it through time. Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. All right, moving forward, we go to consent agenda. We have no items there at this time. We press on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Blanchard.
Yes, Mr. President. Town of Emmitsburg cash activity as of May 31st, 2016, $3,483,676. Cash balance May 1st, 2016, $4,454,435 operating balance forward. And as always, the top 10 checks, starting with the largest amount going to smaller, vendor name, description, check date, and check number.
Okay, are there any questions for the treasurer related to these items? Or any questions for the treasurer related to town activity, cash activity? No, hearing none. Okay, thank you, Mr. Blanchard.
All right.
All right, we now move to the Planning Commission report.
We had no meeting.
No meeting took place. Okay, thank you, sir. All right. So now we move forward to our agenda item. Let me make sure. Okay, the continuation of the fiscal year 2017 town budget. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Haller, do you want to make any precursory statements, or?
The mayor may.
Picking up where you left off.
Okay, great. Mr. Taylor, the floor is yours.
As we presented the last town meeting, we handed out the numbers for the general fund, the water and sewer fund, and the capital projects fund. We went through in detail the different amounts in each of the funds. Any increases or decreases were highlighted as we went through each of the departments. And I think at the end of the last town meeting, we left it at looking at all the numbers and having the commissioners take a look at it for tonight's meeting and going from there, basically. If there was any questions or additional comments on the budget that has been submitted by the mayor.
Okay, so do we have any specific questions for Mr. Tabler or for the mayor or for staff? Mr. Ritz, yes, sir.
I think, yeah, we left it as if we had any questions to send them to you. I didn't really have anything jumping out at me that warranted sending an email. Did you receive any questions from other commissioners?
The only correspondence I received was from Commissioner Sweeney. He had 3 items he wanted to, was passed on to me by Ms. Willets on addressing tonight, I would imagine.
What are they?
I guess the first thing he had to move 25,000. Well, I'll let Mr. Sweeney discuss that, I guess.
I gotta hear what page it's on, because I got mine all screwed up, but,
That's okay.
it was, the actual was out of the CIP, we had, the West Lincoln money that we hadn't used. I had given him, some places it could be used at, maybe.
Right.
But then I had been told something different tonight, that maybe it can be used somewhere else. We can do a budget transfer, use it in another place, like for the square.
You're not limited to any certain part of the year for a budget transfer, and
Correct.
I know at least one of the things that Mr. Sweeney mentioned to me, may be something you do in the future when it's more appropriate, but right now to transfer that money to a activity that's not gonna take place, may never take place if you don't get the development.
Right.
And you don't build the second water plant, so, I said to Mr. Sweeney that I didn't see that they were pressing, and that this budget looks pretty sound, and that if you did choose to do that in the future, this board can make a budget transfer at any time.
And the original sum is about $60,000?
It was 60,
$67,
I think it was, or something like that.
So it's like 73,000.
$73,000, okay,
It was 77, but some was taken out.
okay.
But I asked him, to put some towards what I had asked him,
Okay,
requested was the sidewalk be connected that was missing.
okay, where?
And they looked at it, from West Lincoln.
Okay,
I don't think that will be popular since people park on it, and there is paving there
Yeah,
now.
I thought it was 61. According to the budget, it's 61. I
I believe
thought it was 61. It was 77, but for this year's budget, it says 61.4. But that was left over from the sewer we
No,
had.
it's still 77,458. The 61,479 is for the LED upgrade.
let's get a page.
Oh,
I
okay.
need
Can I hit, yeah,
Need
sort
a
of page.
ruler.
and a ruler.
What page number are we
On
on?
page 18.
Page 18, thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was too. I looked
I
at
see the
wrong line.
77,000
Yeah,
amount
that's-
you're talking
Number
about
377.
for West Lincoln.
Is that the figure, 77?
Yeah, 77.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
I spoke 73.
in my talkings with the staff, they mentioned that we're going to have a 75, or probably a lump sum of money that we're going to need to put our share in towards the square. That we have the square, so we might be able to use that money for that.
And it's highly likely that will happen well before we build the second water plant.
Right.
Okay, so,
And
Are you comfortable with that, Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, I did want it to sit there is what
Sure,
I
yeah.
told him. It's been sitting there for a while and it was left over and I wanted it used for something in town other than just sitting there. So, I asked it to be used for the water line replacement for J Well in the park, but, that won't be online until we get our other water plant built out in Emmett Gardens. So the,
And we have to have the demand because we have
Right.
several hundred
So,
taps available right now. So it'd be hard to justify spending that 2.5 million to build that plant when we don't need
Right.
it. Yeah, we've got it designed and we have the sources of water to feed it, make it work, but I think that's a little bit in the future unless we
Right.
can generate considerable development.
yeah, okay. And that's what I asked her, the three things. And there was actually the fourth thing I asked about the donation for the fireworks and I think the mayor suggested to go raise it to maybe 1,500 this budget, maybe if you put,
I think we can bump it up $500. Where
Just
that,
gotta take 5 from someplace
step
else, sure, you can
from-
make it whatever you want.
Okay, and
and
that would be coming from that sum?
it'll be be budgeted into.
No, you can't use CIP money for that.
No, I wasn't saying it came from that.
okay.
It just was-
Do we still have an amount in the parks budget for the summer concerts that we don't have anymore?
Oh, nice.
Let me see. I know with Commissioner Sweeney, he was talking about with the fireworks, under donations, under parks
Right.
would be the place to have that that
That would be in
amount.
donations. just
Because
like-
if the concert money is still in the budget, we could consider moving that money over to Heritage Day for
Right,
them to
because
use.
that's not CIP money.
Yeah,
Yes, you
for them
could.
to use as, I'm talking the whole nut though, for them to use as entertainment or for, to help for fireworks because it is entertainment in the park, musical entertainment, and it is very well attended. So I think it would be money, well spent.
Commissioners, on page 15, under parks, under donations, there's $1,000 amount listed in the current proposed budget. That's where all that would, I imagine, would come from.
I would,
Could we get an item number for that on page 15, if that's
It's
possible? Mr.
account
Tabler?
6902.
Very
6-9
bottom.
Okay, very bottom, donations, okay.
What do you think about that, Mr. Haller?
I think that it would be a slippery slope since that event is not considered a town event and that we just help with it and then we would be really funding most of it. It would then become a town event. But that's your call.
No, actually, the event, if you would cost it all, if you would add it all up, put together, it's $30-some thousand, and 95% of it's donated.
Just telling you, once you make that kind of contribution, it will be considered a town event, and if there's a problem, the town will be sharing any liability that you don't now, because you just make a contribution.
Just make it a contribution.
Would you want to do that, make it a contribution, so it's not directly funded through the, or leave it, or modify the category as a contribution? Or do you want to make it, what's your goal? Let me ask you, I'm sorry.
My goal is just to take the money that's not being used for the concerts and funnel it into
Is that
a concert event or a community event.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay,
Whether it be for the entertainment or for the fireworks or whatever,
Odds.
it's just money that's going unused year after year.
okay.
Is that
The way we use it, it
in
sounds
your
like they're
budget?
worried about is the liability piece.
I
Does
hear
con-
that.
Does
I
that
hear
concern
that.
you, or? are
Well,
you-
I don't know what the rules are with that. Like, I don't
Sure.
know what the limits are for funding and how
Sure.
that all unfolds, so I
Okay.
can't speak about that.
Okay,
It doesn't apply if it goes in the contribution.
Kathy?
if it's a contribution, it sounds like we're not liable.
Right.
If it's,
Our
if we're
contractual.
directly funding it as a line item, it sounds like we're liable.
Oh, well,
that's what I
then,
wanna find
yeah,
out.
well, we
If-
wouldn't want to do anything that would make us liable, no.
Okay, so do you mind if I ask Mr. Haller about that, or do you want to ask?
No,
Okay.
go for it.
Mr. Haller, I want to get clarification on something. So if the town's making funds available for a donation, and we're identifying it as donation, okay, we're categorizing it that way, as opposed to specifically Community Heritage Day
You don't want to do
event,
that. The latter one, you don't.
that opens the door to liability? Okay, so
And
if,
you should check with Mr. Tabor to verify that's still in the budget he brought.
One thing too, commissioners, and Ms. Willis just spoke with me, an item like that too would be under special events program costs, the account one above that.
Yeah,
Okay.
special events, there's,
6901.
I think it's more geared to,
there's $17,000
What amount of money do you have in
donations
it?
in the account.
I'd have to pull the information.
Well, you gotta know, because they're talking about spending it, and we don't know what it is.
is it possible to find that out right now, or?
I can go, I can go back and look at the accounting information of the items that go into that account.
Okay,
That's, and Ms. Willis told me that that's where it's been in the past.
okay,
The summer concerts would have been budgeted or paid through that 6901.
okay, so special events, okay,
Line item, it was in that
that category,
category.
okay,
And because it's in that category and the town funded it, it was a budgeted line item every time we had a town concert,
we drew it down from there.
and the town was liable for anything that would happen at that event then.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So what do the donations go toward? The baseball program?
No, they go to, the fire company, they get a donation, the ambulance company gets a donation, and we gave $1,000, to, the fireworks.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't know right off the top of the head. but
Safe
we
and
have
Sane,
it.
did we give something to Safe and Sane, the after graduation event for the kids,
Once in a
or?
while we did, and,
Okay.
and some years we did more, and some years we did less.
Okay.
500 sometimes, maybe two of those
Sure.
500, depending really on that one. It depended on how often they came to us.
Sure, okay, sure, that makes sense.
so can I ask one more question?
Sure,
I
absolutely.
don't wanna
Ask as many as
disrupt
you need,
everyone's flow
please.
here. So, just correct me if I'm wrong then, any monies that are in account number 6902 donations, the town then, whatever's in that budget, the town then can take that money and donate it to whomever they'd like to, and then the town would not be liable.
Well,
For
those
anything.
monies didn't end up there like they fell off a wagon. They were intentionally put there. So, yes, they fall in that, but they got in there because they were donations that this board, from time to time, had said, we want to make that donation. We don't want to be the fire company, but we want to give them something to help them.
No, I think it's great, and help out organizations that,
Yeah.
that help
But
our
I
town,
mean,
yes.
we just don't throw a chunk of money in there and then figure out what we use it for.
Okay, but you say that the $1,000 could potentially be for the fire department, but on page 1221, there's a $6,000 donation, a line for donation there.
That's
Are
for
we-
fire and the ambulance,
Okay,
3 each.
so this $1,000 is for the fireworks.
It has been, that's what we've given for the last 18 years.
Okay.
But that's based on the board voting, I mean, so these.
Okay, I'm just trying to
right, sure, sure.
clarify, because when we were discussing this, a lot of things were thrown in the pile, and I just want to be
Yeah,
clear.
like
Sure,
the
sure,
18
sure.
I can only speak for the last 18 years, and it's been $1,000 every time.
Okay,
So that's specifically for fireworks, the $1,000 donations under parks.
Well, I can't tell you what Mr. Sweetie spends it for, but that's what we give it to him for.
Okay.
I would
Doesn't
assume
go to
you-
me.
Well, I was confused. I thought some of that money was going towards the
didn't
fire
go to
company
me.
and the ambulance.
Mr. Sweeney, we have absolute faith in it going to the fireworks.
I don't think
Sir.
that will do it. You need more money than that, don't you, for it, really? Isn't
I
it
trust
like
you, Commissioner Sweeney.
something?
Yes.
For what? The fireworks?
Yeah,
No, the
6 or 8
fireworks-
grand, something like
The
that.
fireworks cost $9,000. The town, the businesses in the last 34 years have been paying for the fireworks itself. Nobody, and the town including is a business in town, they've been donating $1,000. So,
That helps.
Yeah, I'd write 'em a
the
check.
last year or two, the donations have gone way down, because our businesses are shrinking. We have some business we lost. Mount St. Mary's just cut theirs in half, and the town cut theirs in half, but we found it and gave
That
it
was,
back.
that was an
That was an error.
Right,
That was
but they
an
didn't tell
error.
me that until,
Yeah,
you
that
know, that's
wasn't
when it was
intentional.
brought, that's why this was brought up, because
Yeah.
they was wondering why everybody didn't. I said, well, I don't know, nobody told me anything, so I would ask.
That was not intentional.
Right, and they understand that. But the town is not funding the fireworks, and they're looking for a cheaper fireworks, but we would like to keep the Heritage Day going, even if I'm not here and Tim's not here, and the Lions Club no longer exists. We still like to have it. It's a separate committee now of itself, and which consists of the whole entire town. So organizations put together. We separated the event from the Lions Club itself because the Lions Club can no longer handle it themselves anymore. So we,
Wow, because you know,
Separate.
Lions Club founded it.
right, the Lions Club still oversees it. I mean, they're still the founder of it. And we use their because their insurance covers the whole event for that day. So
Wow.
that's why we're still under with the Lions Club, and we're still underneath their charter. But the actual Community Heritage Day itself is we are getting grants on our own, and and all the organizations have a representative in the group. So and we're trying to keep it going with the funds we're raising from the town businesses to keep the fireworks going. But it's getting the businesses are not making as much money, I guess. I don't know, but that's why we were hoping that if the town residents, which the tax money is, which I pay and everybody else pays in here, could raise up the funds a little bit higher for a donation to help keep this event going. I'm okay with the proposal that the mayor had wishes to give, which he talked to me earlier about, because
What was that amount?
$1,500.
Okay, so
Raising it $500 on that should be fine for us. But and then I talked to him about also we give free parking at Christmas time to all of our citizens in town, and most of the time we do not bag the meters or anything. So most of the time people put money in the meters still. So the money for that month would, you know, what was collected in for December when we closed the meters, we don't give tickets out. That would also go towards the fireworks, so we wouldn't have to budget that money. I mean, that wouldn't be another donation that the town the citizens would be actually making with their own money they're putting in the meters. So he didn't have a problem with that either. We used to do it in the old days,
It's up to you, although.
but it's up to the council itself, so, other than that, the four of my proposals that I had, they answered them all. Dave and them answered the three before, and the donation part, or contribution part, was also answered. But that's what I would propose if we can raise it up to $500 for a contribution or donation,
Donations.
and that would go under donations.
Well, your motion is to make it 500, I mean 1,500.
Yeah, 1,500, and
We
use
can make it work, I mean, it's not.
and
gonna
use
make
the
it work. If that's what you all want, we can make that work.
Okay, can I jump in? Do you mind for a second?
Yes.
Is that okay?
yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, you said 1,500 is reasonable for your needs. Mr. Haller, you're saying that there's room in the budget for that type of
Make it work.
modification.
We will make it work.
Okay, so we now bring it to the board. Is that okay?
Yes, but let me finish. I wasn't finished completely. I wasn't aware Ms. Miller had extra money in the account.
I'm not
But
sure
there-
she does.
But if she
He
did,
just told
that
me
would,
he
yeah,
can't tell you.
that would take place for, that would cover next year's, you wouldn't have to worry about finding the money
Here's what you
anywhere.
gotta do. You're going into another meeting in 2 weeks. You're gonna have to with these things, because he's gotta give you the answer.
But that's fine.
Cole, we need to know that in 2 weeks. We need to know it a week from now, so we can make the numbers work.
Okay.
What's in that line?
Okay.
Okay, so
What's left in the line, I don't know.
okay, so once we have a solid figure in place, we know what we can work with, or
And the question is, as it stands, 1,500 instead of 1,000.
correct. That's what we're intent.
That's
That-
the
that
only
is-
thing you know you're gonna
That's the
do. I don't know
presumptive-
what's in that line, Mr.
That I'm presuming that's what the motion would be.
Yeah.
Is that fair, Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off before.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Any other items related to this, sir?
No.
No, okay. Mr. Ritz, anything?
Mr. Tabler, how long would it take to pull those numbers?
I can go back to my office and pull a general ledger and describe what's been in there the last few years.
I mean, if that's, I'm just throwing that out there to the rest of the board. I mean, do we really want to, if everything goes smoothly tonight, we're able to approve the budget, if we're able just to take a few minutes to do that this evening rather than have another meeting,
Okay, yeah,
just,
that would-
just
that would
throwing that
seem
out there.
very Reasonable. Mr. Ritz, let me ask you to hold for a second, if that's okay.
Perfect.
Mr. Haller,
I like that.
customarily speaking, the number that would be coming forward is a reliable number. Is that accurate?
It should be.
Okay, all right. Not questioning you, Mr. Tabler. I'm just questioning, in the past, I haven't seen us do this before, so, not that I can recall. I'll just say it that way. So it may have
I
happened, but,
will, I
okay.
will agree with you on that.
Okay, so as we look at it this way, Commissioner Miller, do you have something you want to throw in? Because what I'm going to suggest is we take a 5-minute recess, Mr. Tabler. Is that a reasonable amount of time?
That's fine.
Okay, will that suffice for what you need time-wise, logging in and so on? Okay, so let's make it 5 to 10 minutes upon your return. Let's shoot for 10 on the outside if that's possible. Okay, we'll take a 10-minute recess, best case scenario, 5. And we'll return to the proceedings at the end of that point in time. Is that okay?
Okay.
Mr. Ritz, is that okay by you? All right, Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney, Commissioner Blanchard, Mr. Mayor. Okay. We have consensus on it, therefore we will take a brief recess. Mr. Taylor, you have direction, you know what we're asking you to get? Terrific. Okay, very good. Thank you.